let's talk about how to approach GenAI, you know, wisely from day one. So, Karthik, when a client says, we want to start using GenAI, what's your advice for where to start and what should they definitely avoid doing?
Yeah, this is something that everyone hears on a daily basis these days, right? My
Hmm.
competitor has something, they've just published a new blog or they just published a new white paper that talks about Gen AI, so we should do something and launch something in the next month. So that's something that everyone hears these days. So when a client comes to us and says, okay, we want to start using Gen AI, my advice is always going to be start with the simple business case. It could be a low hanging fruit. It doesn't need to be a very super complex use case. It doesn't need to solve 100 problems, but take something simple and see if you can deliver it. Don't think about the model that you would like to use. There are various different AI models that you can use, but don't go there. Start with your business case. Gen AI should be anchored to a specific high value objective, whether that's accelerating internal decision making, enhancing your customer support, or automating complex workflows. If you can't clearly define the decision or process, Gen AI will augment your risk building tech for tech's sake. So you're just building it for your own reason and you don't really have a business value or an outcome that you're targeting with it. So, in principle, organizations need a clear view on their Gen AI strategy. What business goals are aligned to, how is the organization's resources and capabilities are aligned to this particular Gen AI strategy.
Hmm.
Once you have this organizational alignment, then build your Gen AI specific use cases. So, I'd quote this, right? How does this use case contribute to this particular strategic goal for these stakeholders by doing these value outcomes? If you can narrate this or draft this, this becomes your very specific Gen AI use case. And when we talk about value outcomes, make it as measurable and quantifiable as possible so that when you go and justify this to your stakeholders, you know exactly what you're trying to contribute to your overall strategy. But these are the value outcomes that you're going to deliver with these strategy. So I actually like Elon Musk's first principles. So he uses this very often and he doesn't make decisions based on analogy, right? So what that means is don't go with what others are doing, but build your own rationale at the nth level on what you want to achieve and then work backwards on how to achieve that. So that is how I see it. That's how I would respond to it. And then to your next question, what should you avoid while we think of a Gen AI use case? First, don't choose complex projects, as I said earlier. Second, don't treat Gen AI as a bolt-on tool because you want to do it first. Don't supplement it. Even if it works as a supplementary tool, execs may not appreciate its value. So don't go down that route. And it should also be integrated into your existing ecosystems and workflows so that it actually complements human and system decision making, not competes with it. Because once it starts competing with it, you're going into a rabbit hole there. The third thing is governance, right? Governance cannot be an afterthought when you're implementing your Gen AI strategy. From the start, you need guardrails, model transparencies, usage logging, prompt validations, and risk framework. But just as important as these use cases are, is the data foundation. Get your data AI ready. Gen AI models are only as good as the quality, structure, and governance of the data feeding them. That means investing in data lineage, cataloging, metadata management to ensure your inputs are clean, contextual, and traceable. Without any of these, you'll get a very poor model performance and worse outputs you can't even explain or audit, which means you're not really delivering anything to your stakeholders or any business outcomes. And other thing, make sure you involve all your stakeholders from day one. They need to be onboarded. They need to understand why we are doing this, what business outcomes it's going to deliver, so that they completely and appreciate your entire Gen AI journey, which is very important, especially if you're starting with your first Gen AI project. And finally, don't copy an old IT business project business case template and try to apply this into your business case for Gen AI because they're completely different things you can't compare. So you have to come with your own Gen AI business case that applies to how you want to solve this problem. So yeah, that's those are things I would say avoid when you start your first Gen AI project.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I feel like some of these are happening and some of these are not happening in today's world. But it is clear from what you said, Karthik, that Gen AI and its success really starts with that focus on the business. You need to tie it to the business requirements and the needs. The ROI needs to be there. You need to have the buy-in from the stakeholders. And of course, we need to invest in governance overall and the underlying data that's feeding all of this. We need to make sure it's of high quality. We need to make sure it's traceable, understood, and anything from ethics to a proper usage of it as well.